He hadn't cried in 3 years. Not since his wife's death in an accident. Not when his little boy started asking, "Where's Mommy?" And then later stopped asking altogether. Jack Turner was a quiet man now. A firefighter turned small town, handyman in Maple Hollow, a sleepy village tucked between the Blue Ridge Mountains and forgotten hopes. He kept his head down, did his jobs, raised his son Noah with the patience of a monk and the pain of a ghost. Then winter came, and with it, her. A rusted blue sedan pulled up to the edge of the rental cabin next door, coughing out exhaust and revealing a woman with wide, uncertain eyes and 2 girls huddled beside her. Identical, maybe 7 or 8. Jack was familiar with all 3 of their ensembles, which included worn-out coats. Grief. "Hi," she said with a small, awkward, "Bimobi, I'm Evelyn. Mia and Lily are my young girls. We're, new here." Jack nodded politely and retreated to his shed. He was against neighbors, not anymore. However, Noah had other ideas. 2 days later, Jack found his son and the twins building a lopsided snow fort in their yard, shrieking with laughter. Evelyn stood at the edge of the porch, nervously watching. "I hope it's okay," she said. "They kind of just clicked." Jack dug out his old toolbox that night. The next morning, he fixed the broken step on her porch without being asked. She brought him cinnamon bread in return. Dry, but earnest. "You don't have to do that," he said. "I know," she replied. "But thank you. We've never really had neighbors before who noticed. It started small. A cleared driveway here, a babysitting favor there." Evelyn soon found herself at Jack's doing the laundry while the kids played Monopoly. They spoke, but they did not discuss the past. No, not yet. He noticed how she flinched when someone raised their voice at the grocery store, how she'd hesitate before speaking, like waiting for permission. She never spoke of her husband, and Jack never asked. It wasn't his business. Until one bitter night in February. A blizzard knocked out the power. Evelyn's cabin went dark. Jack bundled up and crossed the icy path with a flashlight. He insisted, "You and the girls come stay at our place." "You'll freeze in there," she hesitated. I don't want to be a burden." "You're not." 3 phrases, but she looked like he'd handed her the moon. That night, huddled by the fireplace, the truth spilled out in whispers. Her husband had died 2 years ago, heart failure, but her family had blamed her, said she'd drained him, isolated him, that she'd been too much, too needy. A problem. They cut her off, all of them, even her sister. "So I left," she said, voice cracking. "I took the girls and ran. I thought maybe, if I found a quiet place, we could start over. However, Jack, I've been so afraid. I'm just so tired of being scared." Jack stared at the fire a long while. He then extended his hand and gently squeezed hers. "You're safe now," he said. "You no longer have to run." Spring seemed to be coming soon. Jack's once muted world had begun to thaw. Evelyn's laughter returned first. Light, but real. Then the girls filled the house with drawings and songs and the constant chaos of joy. Noah smiled again. Jack smiled again. But the real twist came quietly. One afternoon, Jack picked up a picture Noah had drawn. 4 figures holding hands. Him, Noah, Evelyn, and the twins. "They're not just visitors anymore, are they?" Jack asked, half to himself. Noah gave a head shake. "Now they are. Family." The emotional climax came weeks later when Evelyn stood at Jack's kitchen sink, weeping, this time from gratitude. She'd just received her first official letter in years. Her ex-in-laws had found her address. Not to reconnect, but to say they wanted custody of the girls. Said she was unstable, alone. "But I'm not alone anymore," she whispered. Jack stood beside her, his voice calm but fierce. "You've got me, and I'll fight for you if I have to." Together they got a lawyer. The town rallied. Behind them, teachers, neighbors, even the sheriff gave a character statement. Evelyn kept her girls, but more importantly, she discovered her voice. The story ends not with a wedding, but a porch swing. Evelyn and Jack sat watching the children play, their laughter echoing across the field like music. "You saved us," Evelyn said softly. Jack shook his head. "No, you healed us. Because kindness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it starts with cinnamon bread and a broken step. That summer, the days were long and golden, and sometimes the people who need help the most are the ones who save you back." The girls ran barefoot through the garden Jack had let go wild for them, chasing fireflies at dusk. Evelyn was asked to assist Noah in baking his 10th birthday cake. She cried again, quiet tears, the kind that came with healing. Jack had never planned to let anyone else into the hollowed-out space left in his chest. He hadn't thought there was room. But it turned out love doesn't knock first. It walks right in, messy, unannounced, with twin girls and too many shoes by the door. They never sat down to define what they were. No titles, no declarations. Just small, steady moments. Jack teaching Mia how to fix a bike chain. Evelyn showing Noah how to fold fitted sheets. Lily declaring Jack her bonus dad on a whim, and Evelyn pretending not to blush. The real test came in September. Jack got a call. His father, who he hadn't spoken to in years, was in the hospital. Stroke. They were far apart. However, family is as complicated as that. When Jack hesitated, Evelyn simply said, "Go. We'll be here when you get back." "We," he repeated. She smiled. "Always." He came back 3 days later, emotionally wrung out and silent. Evelyn did not inquire when she saw him in the driveway. She just hugged him, long and full, and somehow he felt steadier. It was around Thanksgiving when Jack stood in the kitchen, watching all 3 kids peel apples while Evelyn dusted flour off her cheek and laughed at something Noah said. That was when it hit him. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was living. Evelyn turned, caught his eye, and for the first time he let the words form. Simple, but everything. "I love this." She crossed the room, brushed her fingers along his jaw and whispered, "Me too." They never made big announcements. There was no proposal on a mountain or Instagram perfect moment, just 2 people, wounded and weathered, who found a soft place to land in each other. They became a family to the town over time, not by name but by their presence, by the way the lights always stayed on at Jack's house, by the laughter drifting into the evening air, by the quiet strength they gave each other. And when winter came again and the snow started to fall, Jack looked out at the glowing windows, the boots by the door, and the woman sipping tea in his flannel shirt. The hollow in his chest didn't ache anymore. It was full. Sometimes life breaks you open, just wide enough to let the right people in, and sometimes healing doesn't come in grand gestures, but in showing up again and again, with gentle hands and an open heart. Jack never cried for the past again. But sometimes when he watched his new family, his family, laugh around the dinner table, he cried for the beauty of second chances.